Yeah, I mean, I think this is examples that we'll all be able to talk about to some
Yeah.
degree. So, nothing obscure. I
Well,
don't think.
knowing Evan, he's always got something interesting.
At least one game that's obscure, right? Sounds like Mitch is singing along to the music in his head.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the music is going.
I
At this
was
point.
doing that. Now I'm not because
What?
we are live. Welcome to Pixel Pints. We are the only, the one, the only global gaming podcast that covers two great things, which is great beer and video games. I'm your host, Mitch, today because McWomble is gone because it is a holiday, but it is also Mitch's birthday. Heyo. And no
Happy
matter
birthday.
Thank you. And no matter what happens, fellas, I am still younger than all of you.
Thanks for that. It makes me feel special.
That's one thing that never will change. No matter how many birthdays we go through, I still will be younger than you.
I think, Mitch, how old are you?
I love this game. Let's play the game. How old do you think I am?
We should know this, right? Like we've been hanging out with this guy for what, 5 years.
4 or
now?
5 years, yeah.
For all the marbles.
For all the marbles.
What do you got?
What do you got?
Berkough?
I feel like he was born in 92. So is he 30?
No, he's not 30 yet. I think he's 28 or 27.
94. He was born in 94.
Which one's your final answer, Evan? You gave me two.
Although, man, am I back on a quiz again? I'm getting anxiety. I thought I lost, and I'm away from all this crap. I'll say 28.
I will split the difference. I am the 2 9s.
All right. Okay.
I've not hit the 3-0 yet. You're scaring me, Berkough. You're scaring me.
Okay, so
I'm hitting that quarter
Mitch-
crisis.
All right. So for me, 29 was harder than 30 because it was the almost there. And then when I hit 30, it was like whatever.
Yeah, I think it's the anticipation of the fear of the 3-0.
Yeah.
And then once you reach the 3-0, you're just like, F it. I'm at the 3-0. It's not going to change anything. But yeah, 29 is definitely more nerve-wracking than probably when I hit 30. But yes, I am 29 years old officially. That is very freaky and scary. But I'm living the dream at 29. So I probably could not tell myself 5 years ago when I was with you guys to say I am living the dream. I probably would have been, you all would have been like, Mitch, yeah, go for it. Yeah, you probably, maybe, who knows? But Mitch,
Well, I remember before you decided to make the move to LA even. And then you were talking about doing it and I was like, dude, fuck it, why not? Like you should do that.
yeah, I mean, I've thought about it for a long time, but even if I'm living the dream at 29 and it is 29 years old, like it's never too late. So that's one thing I will tell anyone out there. If you have a dream that you really want to do, go for it. It is not too late to make the change. I went through a pandemic and that changed that. Like, not only did I quit my job and move to a new city completely, and then all of a sudden I had to restart over a second time because of the pandemic. Like it is never too late to go for what you want, and who knows, you might end up in an amazing place. So I am a full advocate for that, even though I'm 29 right now and I wish I was in this position when I was 23 or 25. I have no regrets, and I'm so happy where I am right now. So I'm probably in the best place of my life, and before I even hit so 30 is not even a scary thing for me at the moment. Why are we talking about me reaching 30? It's a great way to start a podcast. But anyways, if we talk about great beer and video games here on the podcast, if you want to follow us, we are streaming live at twitch.tv/pixelpints every single weekend. And if you want to know when we go live, you can follow us on Twitter at pixel_pints, where we also post our where we archive our videos on YouTube. Our links will be there as well. And if you just look up Pixel Pints on YouTube or any podcast servicer out there, I'm not reading off a script, fellas. This is memorized compared to Mick Womble. I swear he has it written somewhere. It's getting a little up there.
That motherfucker remembers conversations we had 6 years ago.
That's true. That's true.
And I don't.
But if you want to find us, we are also on every single podcasting service you can find. That's Google, Spotify, iTunes, all that kind of stuff. You can find us there. If you want to prefer us listen audio style, there are some fun stuff we do video wise that you might prefer to watch on YouTube. I'm just saying. But anyway, you pick your preference. We come to you. You don't come to us, we come to you. We're that kind of service. It's a great service. Anyway, we are on Instagram. Forgot that one, which is Pixel Pints Pod.
Pixel Pints Pod.
Which mainly we just post pictures of things, whether that's video games, whether that's beer. But we really don't post our information about our podcast, which we probably should. Mick Womble, get on that. We should, but we do it all on Twitter. So really follow us on Twitter, and that's really where you're going to get the updates of when we go live and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, I'm joined by two prestigious guests. I'm here in LA. It is midnight. Officially. So officially actually isn't my birthday as we started the podcast. It was yesterday. But anyway, it was like 3 minutes apart, but whatever. I'm joined by a similar time zone fella who is in Viva Las Vegas. Berkough, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good, man. I've been playing way too much Elder Scrolls Online, getting ready for the High Isle expansion that's going to come out. I think I put 120 hours into playing it on Steam. Before that, I had it on PS4, and I put at least a similar amount of time. I haven't finished a single area in that game.
I mean, I'm not shocked.
Like,
They make amazing video games. They're like the best in the market. They are the number one video game publisher ever in the history of video games. I'm surprised you haven't gotten that far. You are failing, Berkough, because they are so phenomenal, and you are just failing them by not finishing. Finish it.
Yeah, so I'm trying to get through a couple of the areas.
There is no try. Do or do not. There is no try. Yoda, one of the greatest speakers of all time, and we are joined by
Joe Biden said that.
An American speaking about American politics, where is all the way in Japan. We have Evan. How are we doing? Besides quoting Joe Biden, how are you doing today? Or do you have another Joe Biden quote you want to pull out right now?
How about any time I say something that doesn't make any sense, I'll just blame it on Biden. It's probably very close to something that he's said. So
is that the new thanks Obama? Is anything that you can't speak correctly, you just thanks Joe Biden?
Yeah, sure. It can be if we want it to. I'm good. Sunday. So I'm going to be responsible like Mick Womble and drink 3 beers. Wait, that's not what he does. And then I have my highly carbonated, kind of like lemon flavored sparkling water, I guess. From Kieran, actually. Same as my beer. So I'm going to switch over to this once I've had my 3 beers for the night. I teach elementary school kids in the mornings now for like morning English modules, as they call them, and it's horrible. So I have to be on. I can't be half-assing dancing to Happy. You know that song. It's too early.
He can't I've been doing it for the past. You can't do the floss in the middle of class. It's just not a thing you can't do anymore.
They don't. Yeah, they are. They're like 6 years old. I don't know if they know what flossing is. That would be. I'd quit. I'd quit if a little kid did that.
Literally, you just pull up Fortnite and say, "This is PE. We're gonna do all these dance moves."
Yeah. I mean, at least they're cute and they enjoy what they're doing. However, it's 8:15 in the morning and I'm dancing in front of 30 kids, I just think of Danny Glover's famous line from Lethal Weapon. I think we all know what it is. I'm trying not to swear on this show anymore.
Swear,
even though it did not work last time.
Swear to me. Come on. I want to hear it. I don't know which line.
Wait, how long has it been? No, just I'm too old for this shit.
Oh.
But part of my job, so I have to do it. So instead of drinking, getting a bit too excited when we record on my Sunday midday and have about 4, 5, maybe 6 beers if we end up talking too long, I am doing 3. And I'm not telling you that. I'm just telling myself by saying it out loud.
It is a Sunday fun day. Happy Easter.
Can you imagine if any other country actually taught their children a different language at age 6? I think we were in middle school before they were like, oh, do you want to learn about Spanish or French
or German?
That's a good point. Yeah, there's like no concept of like they asked me like, I did my little self-introduction with like pictures and a keynote, and they're like, "Oh, you're from America? Did you fly here today?" Like, yes, yep, flew here. Gonna teach you for 20 minutes,
and
going
fly
back home, and I'm gonna do it all over again, Mondays through Fridays. So,
that's how airplanes work.
Yep, yeah, they have no concept of anything. I tell them like I'm 36 years old. What that number means nothing to a 6-year-old kid.
Did you come on a spaceship? Did you come on the spaceship, teacher?
They probably believe me.
Yeah, I come from this magical land called Wisconsin.
Oh yeah, if only they knew.
You're
the land of cheese.
Land of cheese. It's you just show them a Wallace and Gromit video and go like, that moon? That's Wisconsin, because it's full of cheese. Gromit, it's cheese.
It's funny you say that, Mitch, because in the Bible, right? Bible is written so long ago. It's like almost every line is basically open to some sort of interpretation, right? Mm-hmm. When you talk about the tree of knowledge, it was most likely a fig tree. It wasn't an apple. And similarly, when who was it? Moses talked about the land of milk and honey. I'm pretty sure they meant cheese, and by cheese they meant Wisconsin. So what I'm trying to say is
Moses
Israel
went to Wisconsin.
It ain't you. It is close. It is close to a body of water, but wrong continent. Sorry,
Lake Superior.
Lake Superior. I like that. Get it?
All right.
Sorry.
All right. Well, we talk about 2 great things, which is great beer and video games. But before we get to the video game portion, which is the bigger part of our show every single week, let's talk about beers. I had already been celebrating with people, so I do not want to be an irresponsible person and keep drinking beer. So I'm just going to drink a Red Bull, sugar-free, and I'm going to let you all do the rest of the drinking.
All right, so I've got 2 beers from this company called Hop Valley. So I got Mango Stash and Bubble Stash.
They look hot.
Are they
single?
Kind of like the concept is dankness, I'm guessing.
So all right, so yeah, we'll get into which one do you guys think that I should drink?
Wait, are they single or are they a pair? I just want to know for compatibility reasons.
They're single. I got separate 6-packs for each. Which should I do?
I like how it blew right by you, Berkough. That total reference blew right by you.
I don't know if I got it either.
Are they a single? Are they a couple? Like, I just need to know for compatibility reasons.
Okay. I got you.
Anyway, which do you guys think I should drink? The mango or the bubble?
Let's go mango. Let's go.
Mango?
Go spice it up a little bit. I mean, you'll eventually have both, let's be honest, but let's start with the mango.
Yeah. We'll do that.
Keith is not here. He would say mango.
I think he would too. It's part of the reason I bought it, because I was like, you know what? Keith likes the mango beers.
You buy things for him. Oh, you 2 are married, aren't you?
No, just thinking about if we did the show together, I would have a mango beer that I could talk about. But no, the interesting thing about these is they use cryo hops. So that's the gimmick that these have.
To someone that is not a beer connoisseur, what is cryo hops? Oh no, we lost him. Evan, just go right ahead with your beer.
No, I'm back. I think I'm back.
Oh, you're back. Okay. What's to the connoisseur? What is cryo hops?
Cryo hops are hops that are like freeze dried, and I'm not sure what they do to them, but they freeze dry them and turn them into pellets, and it's supposed to get rid of all of the like harsh, dirty, bitter flavors. and it gives you like a more clean beer. So yeah, it does just that. It's got quite the mango flavor.
Is it like
Is it
is it like a sex on a beach type beer, or is it like a chill by an open fire?
This is supposed to be an IPA. I wouldn't really call it an IPA other than the fact that it's 6%. It does have the hoppiness, but it doesn't have that harsh bitter that you would normally get, and I think that's because of the cryo hops.
That's interesting. I mean, because you want to, especially like malt as well in pellet form. They usually, it lasts longer. It's cheaper. Most
Yeah.
places don't do their own malting. I know Pilsner or Urquell still does because they're like that's what the Pilsner's named after. It's technically not a style, but they just took it from that. But I'll have to look into that more. I'm not familiar with cryo hops.
This is the first time I've seen it on any like commercial beer. I know that they've been available in brew stores for a while.
Okay.
But yeah, I never knew sort of what they were exactly. But yeah, I enjoy this. It's not bad. Hop Valley, they're in Oregon.
All
So
right.
they're a
Oregon.
little ways.
All right.
Yeah.
Evan, of your three amigos, which one you pulling out?
I actually have a different beer today. So this came out maybe about a week or two ago. This is the Back Alley Donda Bada Freestyle Belgian Golden Ale.
It's quite the name.
What the hell is that? Donda Bada is apparently a bar. It's called Bar Donda Bata. And for a long time, I had no idea what it meant. It's just the name of the character on the can, this luchador character. So his name is Donda Bata. It's named after a bar, so this is a collaboration with Yahoo Brewing. I think I've had several of their beers on here. Yona Yona Ale, the Blue Devil, the 7%, really
Okay.
heavy. The Indian Blue Devil beer. So yeah, this is as you can see on the can, a freestyle Belgian golden ale. I don't know what that means. I don't know what a freestyle Belgian gold. Maybe it means like they played a little loose with the style. Maybe they didn't adhere exactly to what a Belgian golden ale is supposed to be. I'm actually not quite sure.
Is it wheat?
It's 6%. No. Wait, hold on. Let's see. We just have malt hops and some sort of like added sugar to it. Okay. No wheat. I had this once, but I was drunk when I had it, so I don't remember. It's kind of a waste. It had very golden. I did pour it a little while ago. That's my mistake. It did have decent head retention, but most of the head has completely gone down. A lot of the carbonation has dispersed. But for listeners, yeah, it's a very kind of pale golden color. And that is an ale, but that is very malt heavy. It's very sweet smelling. It's kind of got that bready, biscuity, kind of malty aroma to it. It smells good. I mean, maybe a bit sweeter than I'd usually like an aroma that's not something that has like a mango or a grapefruit or something like that to it. But yeah, wow. That is I really like that. And that does not taste like 6% ale. So this would be a very, very dangerous beer. This is really, really drinkable. It is way more malty than you would ever think an ale could be, but maybe that is what a Belgian golden ale is. I should have done my homework as to what the style is supposed to be. I'm not quite familiar, but yeah, that kind of like solid, biscuity, bready malt flavor, and it's pretty deep. It's got kind of like a dry bite to it, and that bitterness, mild bitterness, kind of lasts on the tongue, which I imagine will like keep building the more that you drink it. This is really, really good. Yeah, I really, really like this. I think it's a limited beer though, and you can only buy it. It was actually hard to find, only available in some convenience stores. But yeah, this back alley, what is it? Uradori Dondabata Freestyle Belgian Golden Ale. I really, really like it.
All right. Well,
and then I'm going to switch to Kieran after this.
Okay. And to Commander Fett, who is in our chat that has been messaging us, just to let you know, there is still God rays on me, Commander Fett. It is, do not see light that is magically bestowed upon me at this very moment. The whole room is dark behind me, but yet I have light bestowed upon me. It is what we call the God rays. It is still appearing, even if it is not sunny behind me. It is always here. Anyway, so now that we have done our beers, it is time to get to the gaming portion of this podcast where we have a topic that we're going to talk about. And today's topic is, because of the announcement of our favorite franchise, Kingdom Hearts. And in my case, I do actually like the Kingdom Hearts series. So for me, I'm excited about it. But anyways, Kingdom Hearts 4 was announced just a couple weeks ago. I like how the lore is basically becoming a god. Yes, the lore is, as I get older, I become more and more godlike. And they all are peasants, even though they're older than me.
My God, this guy gets a good job. Now he's shitting all over us. What's going on here?
Commander Fett was mentioning it in the chat. And he said, "I like how in the lore, Mitch is basically becoming God."
When Mitch has all the power, when he controls the cameras, when he controls the volume, is it basically I'm God? Because I think I am. But anyway, Kingdom Hearts 4 got it.
You are from Wisconsin.
Yeah,
right? The land of milk and honey. Come on.
And Lake Superior.
Could be the Antichrist. Better watch out.
We'll see how this progresses throughout the year.
Yeah,
okay?
Seriously. Well, I'll be curious to see what Keith says because he does listen to the episodes. What he thinks of our security.
Shaking
complex.
His head.
Yeah,
I can hear him shaking his head. Actually,
literally though. Anyway, Kingdom Hearts got announced a couple weeks ago. Kingdom Hearts 4. Now, for people that don't know, Kingdom Hearts 3 was the last game in the, and people are getting this incorrect, and it bugs the crap out of me, it's the Xehanort Saga. Okay, just for clarification for people, people are getting like it's the Dark Crystals or whatever. It's like no, it's the Xehanort Saga. And so it's a whole new era for Kingdom Hearts, which could mean the story starts all over again. But it brought up an interesting topic, which is Kingdom Hearts story, even though I understand it. Yes, because for me, Kingdom Hearts was the one game in college that my roommate forced me to play, but I was enjoying it after I was getting through it. And so I played every single game in the series except for 3 because 3 wasn't out at the time. And neither was Dream Drop Distance. But anyways, I got through Dream Drop Distance and 3 in the meantime. But I know a lot of people don't understand the franchise, think it's very convoluted and very confusing. I can understand where they come from. But there are many gaming franchises where I think we could all say they are very, very confusing with how many games are out, with all the stories and how they're supposed to have lore that goes together. I can name one personally, but anyway, we are going to go around the room and talk about gaming franchises that we find extremely confusing and just do not understand, even though there are some people out there in the world that do understand them. So I'm going to hop to Berkough first because I eventually will get to mine. Mine is not Kingdom Hearts because I understand Kingdom Hearts because I am God. But Berkough, tell me what confusing franchise is yours?
When this topic hit the chat room, I was like, oh my God, why have we not thought about this? Because literally everything Kojima's ever written. Final Fantasy 13, Destiny.
Stop naming them all. Pick one. You're taking other people's ideas.
Were some of those yours?
One of them was mine.
Okay.
We're gonna have to wait to find out. This is his introduction into his topic, or not his topic. The game he's gonna talk.
Yeah,
about.
It's not his topic.
Sorry, it's your topic.
Yeah, so like I was just thinking like there's a ton of these that we could pick out. For me, I think the one that I really just am not okay with is probably Destiny. Um, it's not that the story wasn't later put into the games, but it was the way that the game was released, where the story, in order to get it, you had to go to a website and look at like these codec things that you unlocked in order to actually understand what the hell was going on. And for me, that was extremely disappointing, because it's one thing if like the plot isn't given to you in the game itself, but you can still find like books or other things in the world that will give you the story. But to have to like completely step outside of the game in order to get the story, that's just super egregious to me. So.
Yeah, it reminds me of the Final Fantasy IX Prima strategy guide where they were trying some new cool thing with the internet. Do you remember that? There'd be sections where it said, play online, yeah. Go to the website to get more information. That doesn't exist anymore. Not that anyone needs an official strategy guide for Final Fantasy IX decades later, but I found that hilarious. Yeah, put the story in the game and keep it away from menus as much as possible. I'm fine with lore, like in Mass Effect. You kind of
Right.
read up on lore because it makes sense that as a soldier you need to know a bit more about the world, so you go into this whatever this
Well,
your codec, is that what it's?
yeah, the codex, but it
Yeah,
actually it's like context sensitive too. So it's like something happens in a conversation, and they'll say something about the Protheans. You're like, whoa, hold on, wait, what was that? Go into the codex. It's highlighted for you. It's a new thing. Like, oh, let me read this. It's more to highlight stuff that happens in casual conversation.
Do you know what it
you
reminds?
Sure,
Do you know what that reminds me of? A game called Final Fantasy 13.
Yes, which did the same thing.
Which basically the story was a codex page you had to read. It would like you could never understand the plot of it based off just the story context they give you on screen alone. You'd have to like research to understand what the hell is going on.
I think that was even worse though, because of the way in which because it was like the falsy and the lessy
and the words are too similar. And
I was like, what
Yeah.
the fuck are you talking about? Like they're trying to create a whole nother language in that game.
Yeah, that's do you know if you do you know Zaz? He's got that little bird living in his hair, the little chocobo. If you go into the codec under that, there is a section specifically about that chocobo, and it says something like, this chocobo lives in Saz's hair, and if it even whispers a word, it will bring about the end of the entire world. And you're like, what? Like, who wrote that?
You and I have talked about this.
Some guy's just messing around. He's like, hey, guess what I'm gonna do? Just click, type. It doesn't matter. No one's gonna read this.
And then when they read it, they're like, awesome.
When they make YouTube videos about it, trying to connect the dots, and it actually doesn't matter. Some guy was just messing around.
It's like the Jar Jar Binks as a Sith Lord concept of being like the chocobo was the villain the entire time.
Yeah, that would actually be more interesting than what they did in that game.
I mean, everything would be more interesting than what they did in that game.
Well, the sad thing about Final Fantasy 13, and again, Berkough, we've had this conversation, is the lore of 13 is really, really interesting about the ultimate creator that made the gods, that power pulse, and the humans, and the whole what the gods are trying to do is destroy Pulse to bring back the creator to ask them like, why the hell did you make us, type of thing. They want to create such a not void, but like killing millions of people in a single second by destroying Pulse is possibly going to bring the creator back to see what's going on, so they can actually speak with them like, why did you make us, why did you leave? It's like this, you think of these gods in this game that are basically invincible having an existential crisis, basically. But none of that is relayed in the game. That is all stuff you have to either look online or stuff that people have interpreted. It's the classic show, don't tell, try to find a way for the characters to, even if you have to do a couple exposition dumps, do it. But you have an interesting story here, but it's just completely bogged down by absolute nonsense in how it's relayed to the player. It sucks. It's super disappointing.
It's super meta too, because I mean, like every JRPG from the '90s was Go Kill God, basically.
I just watched the Persona 5 like kind of rehash thing. Yeah, every one of those games is like, okay, God, you got to kill God.
Yeah.
But yeah, Destiny is very, very similar. Like I mean, even jumping into Destiny 2 is almost like impossible to understand what the plot is. In context, at least the game does a good job of making the gameplay feel so good that you could almost not care what the story is, and you would feel okay playing it still, because Bungie just has a way of making great gunplay to like make it feel so satisfying. The mechanics are
fucking solid.
But the plot, I was just like, I don't even know what's going on. It's utterly confusing. I'm sick of games calling things generic names like The Fallen or the Siege or the Robots. Fuck that shit. Like,
you should come up with something creative that's not too
generic that I forget about it because it's such a generic name and unforgettable. Like, I know, like,
but not too complicated that it's, like another fucking language. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's not like the La Lule Lo or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Which actually goes into mine, which is Metal Gear Solid. The Metal Gear Solid franchise, I do not... So context, my first Metal Gear game was Metal Gear Solid 4 Guns of the Patriots. Now, going into it, I watched... And because this game came out when I was like in really early high school, I think it was like in was it eighth or ninth grade?
It's 2006, right? 2006 or 7.
Oh, I graduated in 11, so yeah, it must have been my freshman year in high school. And basically what happened was, thank God for game trailers. First of all, like, I saw a video where they were like breaking down of talking about Metal Gear Solid and how amazing franchise it is, and like, oh my God, everyone get excited for Guns of the Patriots, it's gonna be amazing. And then I was like, what the heck is this game? It's the 4th game. I want to play it because everyone's saying it's gonna be freaking amazing, and I need to know what the plot is. Thank God for retrospectives. That kind of helped a little bit, but I'm like, I'm still freaking confused on what's going on. And then when you play the 4th game, oh my God, they stuffed the game so much to the point where I don't even know what's going on. I kinda know what's happening, but I really don't know what's going on. And then on top of that, I played Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain. I can't even finish that game because I do not understand what the frick is going on in that game, because I know it's a prequel, but then there's like the PSP games that are like before that one, and I just don't get the difference between like who. Like, I think that one is oh shoot, what's his name now? Well, it's his the name of it is like Snake something. He's like
Punished Snake.
Whatever his name is, he's the original Snake before the clone Snake that happens in Metal Gear Solid 1. But anyway, it's
Big Boss.
Big Boss, thank you. It is just so freaking confusing. And it just...
It's technically not Big Boss. You're actually not a clone of Big Boss, but you're a doppelganger for Big Boss.
See, again...
Which is why Kojima justified changing the voice of Snake.
Oh my God, seriously? That's what...
Yeah, from David Hayter to whoever the fuck...
Keith Sullerton or whatever his name is.
Yeah, Kiefer Sutherland.
Kiefer Sutherland. And that's why, whatever, in Metal Gear or Metal Gear 2, when Big Boss dies, it's the doppelganger that dies. That's why he's still alive at the end of 4.
Yep.
Which makes no sense. It's just like
it kind of makes sense. I don't know. Nanomachines, man. Nanomachines.
It makes sense. But does Kojima just have this freaking board out of being like, here's the connecting pieces. Because, like, I can't keep track.
Dude, he made that shit up every fucking game.
And then I remember
there's no way that he had this grand overarching plot. There's no way.
Well, no, I just meant in the fourth game when, like, oh, I'm going to resolve all these issues. It's like this giant board of being like, okay, where do I solve it? Because I do remember there was a group called the La La Lule Lo or whatever. And literally it took 3 seconds for them to clarify of, oh yeah, the La La Lule Lo is the Patriots. I was like, Kojima just went, La La Lule Lo, I don't have that explained. Let's just make that the Patriots, and I'll just make a line for that, and then we're good. And then we're just done.
I feel like we had somebody on the podcast that explained what that is, because it's a nonsense Japanese phrase.
I can tell you what it is if you.
Yeah, go for it.
Tell us, educate us.
In order, and I remember in the game, there was some. It was probably nanomachines. I don't remember. Anytime they were about to say the name of the Patriots, there was something in their brain that would not allow them to say it. So instead of saying the Patriots or whatever the information was, they'd say la do. Okay, so the Japanese alphabet is. It has an order just like the 26 letters in the alphabet. It starts with the vowels, so A, I, U, E, O, which is basically A, E, I, O, U. And then it just keeps going. So it goes A, I, U, E, O, Kaki, Kuke, Ko, Sashi, Suse, So. When you get to the R, it's Dari, Rure, Ro. So they're basically saying the equivalent of the elemental P. That's all it is. And that's something that Japanese players would pick up on. Like, why are they just like saying a bit of the alphabet?
Right.
There's something messed up here. Instead of in English, it just does not work. La li li lo sounds stupid.
Yeah.
But those games are ridiculous. So maybe it fits tonally. Who knows? It is ridiculous though.
Yeah. So that franchise for me, it's just I can understand Kingdom Hearts because you have a Heartless. And then a Heartless becomes a nobody. So you have a Heartless and a nobody. And then if both die, you get your body back.
Yes, thank you. That makes perfect sense.
It's an easy concept to understand. So when you're fighting Organization 13, they are nobodies. They are heartless, and their heartless died. And when they killed Organization 13's nobodies, they became human again. And so that's why you see some of the characters again in human form. Oh my gosh, it's such an easy concept.
I'll tell you what, I had a friend that was just as much into Kingdom Hearts, if not more than you are. I almost got alcohol poisoning trying to figure out, because we stayed up all night drinking, and he was trying to explain it to me, and that it didn't matter how drunk I got, none of it made any sense.
I mean, it is hard.
Wait, wouldn't it make less sense the drunker you got? Right. Not the opposite.
It should make more sense, hopefully, right?
Well, I also think that
depends on the conversation. Sure,
it is hard to explain Kingdom Hearts without showing it in like a video. Like, I think it's easier to learn.
We pulled up YouTube videos and everything, and still could not get to the. I was like, what the fuck is going on in this? Yeah.
Well, let's see if Evan can sort out some knowledge for us. What's the franchise for you that's like?
Well, the first one, depending on how much time we have, is a game that is kind of topical because a remake, and that heavy quotation marks on that, Chrono Cross is a ridiculously overly complicated plot. Is technically connected to Chrono Trigger, and is it happens after Chrono Trigger. And this is actually not really fair, because you could pull up any Wikipedia article about the story of a game and start halfway through the explanation and have it make no sense. But I'm just going to read a little bit of this for you so I can prove my point in a very, very cheap way. All right. So guys, it's like this. Chronopolis, right? Chronopolis is divided this entity into 6 pieces and created an elements system. Fate, capital F-A-T-E, I don't know what the acronym stands for, then terraformed an archipelago, erased the memories of most of Chronopolis' staff, and sent them to inhabit and populate its new paradise. Thousands of years later, a panther demon attacked a 3-year-old Surge. His father took him to find assistance at Marbule. but Surge's boat blew off course due to raging magnetic storms caused by Shala. From Chrono Trigger, that's right. So Shala, the princess of the kingdom of Zeal. So you get my point. It's needlessly complicated, and it's not even important to get into the specifics. And this is one thing I kind of want to touch on and see if you guys have any opinions on games that include this element. I don't like time travel, usually in movies or in video games. Now, if it's something like Back to the Future, it's less about the time travel and it's more about the kind of goofy 80s kind of comedy aspect of it. Although I don't really appreciate a white person going back in time and basically erasing Chuck Berry from the timeline. The progenitor of rock and roll. So now that's
I
kind
was
of
I
messed
was
up.
gonna I was gonna bring it Back to the Future, but you're just gonna shit on it. So
I like no Back to the Future's fine. I love when he it's called the two trees mall, and then in the past he runs over one of the trees.
Twin Pines. Yeah,
and then he goes back and it's only one. Yeah, that's pretty clever. And that's one reason like I wasn't even that big of a fan of the final Marvel films with Endgame. Just because once you introduce time travel, it just gets overly complicated, and right, it's overly complicated, or the stakes are now gone because it's a multiverse. If Spider-Man dies in this universe, who cares? You take another one and put him in here. There's one where he has a red hat on. There's one where he has a yellow hat. Gwyneth Paltrow, sliding doors. There's one universe where she gets on the train and her life is completely different. There's one where she misses the train. And it's just one of those... I think even in Endgame, was it? They bring up Back to the Future because every kind of time travel logic, sometimes it's compartmentalized to a single movie or a game. So there has to be a conversation where people talk about how the time travel in this particular universe works. And I think even in the Avengers films, they bring up Back to the Future. And basically the Hulk pauses the film, looks at the audience and says, "Don't think about it too much." And you're like, "Oh, okay, fine. It's not that type of thing." And they constantly have to do that because it does get overcomplicated. And I think Bioshock Infinite got away with it only because at the end of that game, Elizabeth basically had the power to converge. There's always a lighthouse, the classic line. She had the power to she had the power to converge every universe together into a single one again.
Yeah, she could open rifts and
Yeah, so whatever. I mean, if it's part of your logic and you explain it in a way where it just can't get overly complicated, and Chrono Cross does the absolute wrong thing where look up an image of the Chrono Trigger / Chrono Cross timeline. The images are ridiculous. And yeah, it was one reason why I watched a video today, 45 minutes, breaking down Chrono Cross. Useless, completely useless. I don't really remember much about it.
So I agree with you. It's been shit. It's probably been since 2000 since I played the game. And I don't really remember making a whole lot of sense. But I remember not really caring because there was so much else going on in the immediate world that you didn't really need to know how it connected to Trigger, I guess.
It's kind of like, how like in Avengers, as I said, when Hulk looks at the camera and says, "Don't think about it too much." Maybe that's kind of what you should be doing.
Yeah,
focusing on the now, focusing on the combat system. Yeah, that type of stuff. Pay attention to kind of the overarching plot points and then just stick with that and not pay attention to, oh wait, so Chronopolis went back 1,000 years and then the timeline where Lavos didn't kill Chrono actually didn't happen. Yeah, that stuff is just but it's just make two timelines and have the converging. I don't know, stop overcomplicating stuff.
It does serve the game though, because it was one of the first games that had New Game Plus. And
Chrono Trigger, yes.
No, Chrono Cross.
I mean, Chrono Trigger had New Game Plus though.
Did it?
Yeah. I blew my mind when I saw that as a kid.
I don't remember that. I do
That was
remember
one
there were
reason.
multiple.
That was one
I do
reason
remember
why.
there's
Because there's multiple endings. Yeah, it's like 11.
Yeah. Well, there's multiple endings in Cross as well, and there's like what 50 recruitable characters or 20, some shit like that. Yeah,
That's a
there's
big
like
margin.
so many characters. Well, there's so many NPCs that you can recruit into your party, which makes sense for the multiple playthroughs, which gives rise to the multiple timelines thing. But
well, I will say the timeline. If there's one series I can name that like does timeline pretty well with time travel, and I'm like more willing to forgive it, which is Prince of Persia: Warrior Within.
okay,
Because they actually
Underrated game.
Yes.
I like that game.
I do like that game a lot, and I think it does.
Godsmack and all, baby.
Yeah, and I think what also they do really well with that game is they really make time travel digestible because you are flipping between time zones so much. But I think it really, especially when they do the flip where they make the prince put on the mask that allows him to go backwards in time, and then you're going through the same sequences you went before, it just helps to really solidify everything you've been doing before in understanding like, okay, this is why I'm in this time zone, or the Dahaka will only chase me if I'm in the present and not in the past, and only go into the past to make this puzzle available to me, but then I will go back into the present so I can reach the certain destination point. So like there is I think it makes time travel way more digestible, and I really do give them a lot of credit for it.
I think it does something interesting with, it's not just time travel. I like the idea of this, actually it's not really new, but this kind of being that is the controller of time. So if anyone is, it's like Loki really, or I guess Loki's like Prince of Persia.
They're gonna go after you.
Yeah, he's going after because you're breaking the rules, and if you screw things up, like who knows, you could completely destroy the world, the multiverses as you know it or whatever. But I do like the idea of this being trying to hunt you down because you're screwing with time too much, and that was pretty cool. Like, did you get the secret ending?
I did.
You get the ultimate sword, so you can defeat the. Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah,
I love that game.
Cool. That was very cool. Yeah, it's actually my favorite game of the trilogy.
Mine too. I think it's highly underrated. Everyone always rags on it because of the whole grittiness,
tone, changing voice like actor, and it's the rock
like the
music.
woman, her outfit. She looks like she's on the front of like a '90s Image comic.
Well, especially because her first shot is
way
just
too revealing.
Ass. Her first shot is just ass hanging there.
A 90s Image comic.
Like overall, the gameplay mechanics
really
of that game were solid, and the combat was really good, and it was very varied because you could switch the secondary weapon constantly, and I think it was solid. I really enjoyed that game. So yeah, that's actually in general that's one series that does make it understand. Okay, well let's flip it around really quick before we go, of a game series that makes total sense to you that some people would find extremely complicated. So like maybe someone on, like one of us on our list, we would have put it on the list of it's too confusing, but it seems like we've been very much in the same boat for everything we said so far. But I'm going to go first. I think the Resident Evil series is very followable.
Oh, it's hard to follow for sure. Yeah, with Wesker and all that shit that's going on in the background.
No, I'm saying it is followable. You can follow the series.
Well, no, but for other people though, right?
Oh,
like there are other
people,
people
sure.
that find it like really confusing because doesn't Wesker come back as like some type of a cyber zombie in 5?
He just injects himself with a virus, so it allows him to have superpowers, which is not out of the realm of possibilities.
Yeah. It's like Super
Right,
Shredder
but,
in the end of TMNT 2.
Right, but other people like getting into the series would be like, "What the fuck just happened?"
Well, they explain it.
Okay.
Like, I mean, that's the thing. Like, that's the one thing I can go to Resident Evil and go, pretty much everything they have in these games are explained. There is a reason for it. It may be not the reason people like, but there's a reason for it. And it's not like the Lalo Lulelo where they're like trying to one half-ass it and like try to just, put a what is it, a round object in a square hole or whatever you want to call it.
Right.
They're not trying to like fit it in where it doesn't fit, where at least it makes sense. And I think the one go ahead that Resident Evil always has is like it's just another biological weapon, which is fine. It makes total sense within the series.
I think.
I have one question to ask Mitch Berkough, and this is not spoiling the most recent two Biohazard games, Resident Evil games. Mm-hmm. Mitch, were you happy with the ending of Resident Evil Village, story-wise?
Well, we can just talk about what the ending is. I
don't know if we should.
It's almost 2 years. If you haven't played the game, you should go play the game. If you
doesn't
bother
me. I don't get spoilers, so.
Yeah, if you haven't played the game, skip about 40 seconds extra right now.
Okay, quick one.
Where you say Ethan sacrifices himself, is that the one you're talking about, or Ethan's been dead the whole time?
No, I'm talking about the whole progenitor, behind the Umbrella and all the T-virus and all of that
came
stuff
from the village. Yeah, no, I thought that was nice.
Yeah.
Like I think that was.
I liked it. I liked it as well.
I think it was a way to connect everything, because I think the one thing about 7 and 8 is that it felt as if it wasn't connected to the series, especially 7. 7 very much felt not connected. Where's the skip button, Commander Fett? As we're talking about, if you're watching it in the past, sorry, you just got to hit the mute button, and then you have to come back in 30 seconds. But
are we done?
But
I think we done?
Well, we can still talk. We can still talk. We're not giving away spoilers. We were just talking about what the spoiler pod is. But I think overall, like 7 felt as if it never connected to the series at all, and I think it was a nice way to have 8 connect to the series. I think it was more fascinating for the other thing we talked about, which is the importance of Ethan, and something that is just like, oh, that makes total sense of why his arm comes off in the 7th game and is able to be stapled together like that, or he's able to lose some fingers and a hand in 8. Like it didn't make sense to me. I was like, this is so beyond the logic I've never experienced in a Resident Evil game. And I think they did a good job of actually explaining it, which made total sense to me. And I think it was almost like the logical answer was the right one, and you just as the player just were accepting video game logic of like anything is possible.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's a way to spin it on its feet. I thought it was clever. I really liked it.
I mean, it's ridiculous, but I think it made sense in the world of Resident Evil.
Yeah, and Resident Evil's just ridiculous in general.
Yeah, which is fine. It's a video game. Like I enjoyed the silly aspects of it. It tied it together, I think. Yeah. Sorry, Berkough, you were gonna.
Yeah, what's yours?
Pivot?
What's yours, Berkough?
Mine's probably Elder Scrolls. This is all talk about.
Shut up! No, they're not all connected.
How I went.
Are
yeah,
they?
They are. Yeah, totally. They're all totally connected.
Even Skyrim.
This guy's got Georgia on the mind. Elder Scrolls on the
so
mind.
Confusing.
Playing it.
Just one of them. Just one of them is confusing. Berkough. Come on, man.
No, so yeah, give us. I've never played an Elder Scrolls game.
Well, all
not
right,
necessarily
so
the lowdown. So
I put my Monday Night Football stamp of the "come on, man" that I disagree. But go ahead.
Well, no, just because there's so much, right? Like every race has its own backstory. Every province has its own history. And you're talking about like thousands and thousands of years. So, Online takes place in the second era. Morrowind takes place in the third era. Oblivion takes place in the fourth era. We're talking about like thousands of years in between all of those.
And they haven't gotten motor vehicles in those thousands of years in Magic.
No, it's all about fantasy. So
you can have fantasy and cars at the same time, Berkough.
Yeah, but I think like I'll get on a tangent and be like, I went delving in this alien ruin in this province, and everybody's like, what the fuck are you talking about, dude? you know.
Okay.
And the aliens are an ancient race of Mer, which are like elves that existed before all of the current races that are existing in the world now. You know. Exactly. I get blank stares all the time, just like I'm getting from you two.
You okay? Let me ask you. Maybe I shouldn't ask this question. Are you're happy with the of all the Elder Scrolls games?
For the most part, yeah. Like, I wasn't a big fan of online because of the combat and the way that some of the stuff works in terms of the classes and whatnot. But the story is just fucking solid, and I can't, not enjoy the story.
Okay. Evan, what's your game that you feel like everyone understands? Or everyone should be able to understand?
But they probably don't. But I think
Yep.
it's quite clear.
Yeah.
This is one that's quite clear because I've watched probably 3, 4, 5 hours of lore videos on YouTube. But due to that, due to spending a trilogy's worth of movies watching lore videos on it, I think the Blasphemous story is actually pretty quite clear. Oh man, that game is so good. That's creeping. That's creeping into like my top 5 of all time every time I think about it. But
Wow.
I do understand why people get confused because it has the coolest yet longest names for everything. And I think on the whatever year I played it, we were doing our top 3 of the year, and the podcast was going on so long.
It was last year.
It might have been last year, yeah. All I did was like, instead of talking about the game, I just did my top 5 favorite names of something that sound like the name of a metal album. And so you have names like the Brotherhood of the Silent Sorrow, the Miracle, the Cradle of Affliction, You're the Penitent One, the Desecrated Cistern. It's got all these names. So when you start reading sentences about this game on Wikipedia, you're like, okay, so I'm from the Brotherhood of Sacred Sorrow, and I'm the Penitent One, and I'm going to the Mother of Mothers Cathedral, and then just like, okay, I don't know what's going on, but it's super interesting. And if you watch, 5, maybe 6 hours of lore videos, dig deep, it all starts to make sense. And the final DLC that took me forever to beat because of the lack of clarity in what you're supposed to do, the Wounds of Eventide, answers so many questions, and it builds the lore, and then there's a stinger at the end. You're like, oh, I can't believe it. Blasphemous 2 is going to be great. I just really want to talk about Blasphemous. The story is actually pretty hard to follow unless you're... It makes sense to me, though, and it's great. It's a really, really good story. And it's one of those things like Destiny where maybe people don't care about Destiny because the combat is so good and maybe the story ultimately doesn't matter. Blasphemous does have that going for itself. It's a beautiful looking side-scrolling game. The enemies are interesting. The little tidbits of lore you get is not unlike a Dark Souls or a FromSoft game, but there is more there that's actually tying it all together. Way more so than lore videos on all the FromSoft games. So I don't know. Makes sense to me. But it is one of those. You know what? I think in the next couple days, there's one guy on YouTube. I wish I could shout him out. He does the best Blasphemous lore videos. Give him a watch. Add a couple more hours to my Blasphemous lore account. But yeah, great game.
All right. Well, I'm gonna shoot a quick shout out to a game that people should play, and I think has great lore that people can understand, and that is The Order 1886.
Oh, dude, yeah, that was a highly underrated game for sure.
Highly underrated. I highly recommend people go play that game. I'm so sad it'll never get a sequel. I'm so sad for that.
Yeah, if it only had a little more interaction.
Yep.
And it was less corridor
And a little longer.
I'm okay with the length. If it was just, you could just explore the world more.
Yeah, that's what I meant. You could add length to it by like opening up the gameplay more, having a little more fight sequences.
Yeah. It suffers from the fact that it's just fucking set piece after set piece. But it's such a beautiful fucking game, though. Like, how do you?
It still looks good.
How do you make a game that looks that good and also gives you the freedom
and not get a sequel?
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry for Ready at Dawn because I think they. Also, I thought the lore in the franchise was super interesting too.
Oh, I love the fact that you're basically King Arthur's knights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like the Holy Grail is keeping you immortal. That's like that alone is like, all right, that is an elevator pitch that you can make in 30 seconds. You're like, okay, I'm listening.
And then
it just kind of sucks.
Absolutely.
And then the weapons are like based off futuristic, but at the same time like 1886 technology at the time. Like,
steampunk, very steampunk.
So good. I just thought about that in my brain recently. So I was just like,
what was that ammo? You'd like shoot like gunpowder at him and then light it with a second shot. That's so cool.
Yeah.
That's a shame. I do recognize that some people fall. There are people who I'm surprised that all of us like this. Usually, there's
someone that hates it, right?
There's always one. I think there's more people that say that game is awful, disappointing. But it's interesting that the three of us agree that it was really, really good.
The one thing I will say is it may have been disappointing for $60. If you were expecting a game that was going to take you 10 to 15 hours, you know what I mean?
But the crazy part was the game it was like one of the first games to come out for the console, wasn't it?
No, it was a little while after. The first game that really felt next gen with all the graphics.
Let me look this up.
That fight on the Zeppelin was
iconic. Like there's some iconic scenes in there. 2015. When did PS4 come out?
The PS4 came out in 2014.
2013, I believe.
Oh, was it? I
Pretty
thought it was
sure.
2014. Maybe I got mine in 2014.
Resave for the PS4 was 2013, November.
Okay.
So it came out 3 years. What did I say? 2014 for... What did I say for 1886?
You said 2015, so probably less than 2 years.
So just a little under 2 years, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm so sad that game won't get a sequel.
Right.
Because I think we could have been talking about this one and being like a lore that could be easily explainable. If they made a sequel by now, I could easily say that one would probably be on my list.
Oh, dude, and characters that you could follow, dude. You know what I mean?
Totally. Because we have background in general lore about
King Arthur,
like
and
the
his
myth,
knights and
Lancelot and all that. Yeah,
absolutely. And it had a vibe of like political intrigue and like the order you work for is not really. I'm not going to spoil it for people. Please go play this game if you have not played this game. It's so worth $5. Like
I like how you were willing to spoil Resident Evil 7 and 8, but you're not willing to spoil the Order 1886.
I only say that because
it's like 3 hours. It's like 3 hours. Just go fucking play it.
Well, one, I think I really want people to go play it, and then two, millions of people bought Resident Evil 8, not millions of people bought Order 1886.
That is a fair point.
Yeah. So actually, to be honest, I actually don't have my copy. I don't know what happened to my copy. I might just go buy it again.
To be fair, I bought it online for like $6.
Yeah, I think I might do that too. Like, I really want to play it again. So I think I actually, once I'm done with my playthrough of my other games, I think I actually will pick up that game and just go play it again because I really want to play it again. Recently, I've just had a cringe for it. So go play this game. Go support Ready at Dawn Studio. They did a great job.
You know, that game came out before I got into platinum trophies. Let me take a look at that list.
Yeah, you
see if I can't.
Let's see.
Here's a random question: has there ever been a game that would let you know how many years have passed since the first in the subtitle? Because if they called it the sequel like The Order 1888, like, well, okay, well it's 2 years after the first game. You don't even have to put that in the. You know, like the not the Michael Bay, like the Roland Emmerich, like Independence Day. It's got like the February 4th. Chile.
So it came out in 2015. So is that what we agreed to?
Yeah,
and it's been.
I believe so.
It's been what, 7 years since then?
Here you go, Evan. It is a 3 out of 10 for difficulty. You can get it all done in one playthrough, and it'll take you about 10 hours.
Looks like
there's only
I'm playing
For
the Order
platinum-
1886.
For a platinum trophy, 10 hours for Evan. That's an evening.
Yeah, I know. Seriously.
I'm excited.
Unmissable. Let's see. Yeah, there's a bunch of collectible ones, and then stories, and then just killing enough enemies with a certain type of weapon.
That's fine. You don't do that. You options out to the main menu, jump back into the checkpoint, follow a collectibles guide.
I really need to buy some canned air so that I can get my original PlayStation 4 to not sound like a fucking aircraft carrier.
Oh, you
so
know
that I
what?
can actually play this game. And
Yeah.
maybe Horizon as well.
Yeah, I was thinking on the top of my brain right now. Maybe I'd stream this one on Pixel Pints, and we all can have a party together and celebrate what an
I think you
understatement
can finish. You can finish one playthrough in what, like 3 hours, right? It's like 2.5, 3 hours.
No, it's not that short. I think it's like
5-6 maybe.
I think it's 6 hours.
Is it 6 hours?
Let's see.
I felt like it was shorter than that.
How long?
Go to how long to beat.
All right. So for the audio
7
listeners,
hours.
Mitch is
7
typing.
hours, yeah.
7 hours. If
7
you're a
hours.
gamer that strives all aspects, you'll likely spend around 10 hours to obtain 100% completion.
Actually, dude, 7 hours is a decent amount of time. I mean, that's a fucking
That's an
Call of Duty
afternoon.
campaign.
That's an afternoon.
Yeah, it's Call of Duty campaign. It's Titanfall 2,
That's a work day.
which
Yeah.
we'll get into maybe in a future podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
I need to finish my notes on that, by the way.
well, if there's anything you want to get out of this podcast besides what are followable and unfollowable storytelling, it is that you need to go play the Order 1886. Obviously, don't pay full price for it, but it is well worth your time. Please go play this game.
Yeah, it was actually the shadow topic was
just
actually
so we could talk
trying
about
to convince people. Took a long time, but
we got there.
hopefully we did it justice. Yeah.
My bro is playing Horizon on his base PS4, and that's his only issue. Oh, okay. That's Danny Boy 90.
Yeah.
Taken. That sounds like a jet engine.
Oh, sorry,
Yeah,
not Danny Boy.
probably.
Sorry, Dan Boy 90. Sorry, Dan Boy 90. All right. Well, that is our show for this week. Again, we are Pixel Pints. We are the only global gaming podcast that covers two great things, which is great beer and video games. You can find us streaming live on twitch.tv/pixelpints every single weekend. If you want to know when we go live, you can check us out on Twitter, which is pixel_pints, where you can find when we go live on Twitter. But then we also post links to the archive on YouTube, which you can go to YouTube and search Pixel Pints and look for that nice mug. And you've got us. It's like green and white and all that fun colors. Or if you like the audio version only, we do have it available for everyone on any podcast service around the globe. That's Spotify, that is iTunes, that is all that stuff. Commander Fett, thank you for telling us we do a great show as always. I think it is fun to catch us live because sometimes you guys send us funny stuff in chat and it makes the show way more interesting. So we always recommend doing that. So
Yeah.
anyway,
definitely.
I'm so excited that I got to be joined on my day after birthday with Berkough and Evan and everyone that does celebrate Easter. We hope everyone has a happy Easter. Stay safe, drink responsibly as always, and go play Order 1886. I don't know how many more times we can say it to you. But
If you take anything away from this episode, buy it for $3 or whatever. $2.50.
We all serendipitously were like, yes, that game is fucking amazing.
I'm surprised, to be honest with you. Yeah, play it.
well,
Great.
on that note,
We're out. Playing in the background. Yeah.
I'm surprised we came to a consensus on that. That's good.
Yeah. There's a lot of games though that all right, so you played